And today I'm going to talk to you about link reclamation, some of the more advanced tactics that you can use for link reclamation. So in case you missed it, here's a picture of me. If you want to get hold of me, those are my details. They're not going to be on the screen again, so maybe take a screenshot. You can print it out and put it on your fridge, I guess. And today I'm going to talk to you about the SEO system and why maybe we should be doing a bit more link reclamation than we are currently. So this is basically the same process that's used in SEO agencies around the world, really. What the basic process is that when you get a new client or start working with a new business, or maybe you go in and get a job at a new business, you'll start with a tech audit. So you'll start with a tech audit and make sure that the website's technical foundation is optimal for SEO. From there, you'll move to more of the regular grind. So you'll be creating content, you'll be building links, and obviously just general stuff to improve your rankings. My argument and the point of this talk is basically that link reclamation should have a bigger part in that kind of initial project. So when you're doing your technical audits, you should also be auditing your link profile, obviously getting rid of any bad links, doing disavowals and things like that, but also making sure that the website you're working with has all of the links that it should have before moving on to those kind of regular day-to-day tasks, content links, to really build your visibility. So this is the kind of question: why would someone naturally link to your website? So I'm not talking about where you've outreached to them, definitely not where you've paid them or given them something to link to you, but why would someone naturally link to your site? And the one answer for this is that your business has something that's interests them. Maybe the page that they've linked to is relevant to whatever they're talking about, or something that they're basically interested in your business. And this is essentially what search engines the kind of ideology is built on, that people will link to your sites when it's useful, which is great. This is a great passive way of building links. Just build something great and hope people link to it. But for every site linking to you for one of those reasons, for every website that links to you because you're interesting, there's a load more who are talking about your website, who are mentioning your business, who are using your assets, your images, your videos, and they're not linking to you. And that's the basis of link reclamation. It's finding these links that you should have, but you don't. Not yet, anyway. So before I sort of launch into the technical side of it, I want to kind of go back to basics, just because there's a lot of misconceptions about how PageRank and how link equity works. So I just want to make sure that we're all clear from the beginning. PageRank is really important. It's still one of the major factors in where your website will rank in searches. And it's also used by web crawlers and spiders for them to decide which pages they're going to visit. So as a crawler like Googlebot goes through the internet, it will look at the link equity or the page rank of each document that it's visiting, and after that link equity gets past a certain threshold, so in this case, a crawler will visit PageRank 5, PageRank 4, PageRank 3, but then maybe it stops after it gets past PageRank 3, and any pages with a link equity score lower than a threshold won't get crawls. And this is really important because this is almost the ecosystem of how crawlers they maintain a reasonable crawl queue, because they can't just crawl forever and ever and ever. They need to stop somewhere and recrawl the most important pages. And so link equity score is a really useful way of doing that. And I'm not talking about this kind of 1 to 10 toolbar page rank as we know it. The link equity score and the PageRank scores that Google used internally are on a much bigger scale, and this could be sort of 0.1 on that scale before it stops crawling. But it's really important because, yes, this is how search engines crawl. And this is how link equity flows through the internet roughly. There's a few caveats to this, which I'll get onto later, but a document will have a link equity score, and it will pass a proportional amount of link equity to each link on its page. So this page has a score of 5, it has 2 links, so each link will pass 2.5 link equity score to the destination page. And the main caveat to this is that it doesn't pass all of its link equity. So basically, what happens is pages will pass most of their link equity to the links on them, but some link equity is it disappears through every link. And this is called degradation. So in this model, we're using 10% of link equity degrades through every link. And so if a page like this one has 100 link equity, for instance, and it has 2 links, it will pass 45 to each page on it, because 10%, 10 disappears through just being a page. And the reason for this is because if 100% of link equity passed through every link, the end result would be that every web page would eventually have an infinite link equity score, because all link equity would just go round and round and round and round and round in circles, and there would never be an end. So by degrading a proportion of link equity from every page, it kind of makes this manageable and means that there isn't this infinite link equity score, which is theoretically possible if you didn't do this. Now, this is a really important principle to understand, because as we get on to next, every link and every redirect causes this degradation. So if you have over here another website with 100 link equity score linking to you, you will only get 90. That becomes important. Well, okay. If another website links to you and it's linking to a 404 page on your site, you'll lose all of that link equity. So links to 404 pages don't count at all. Google will basically ignore them. And that degradation that we talked about before becomes really important here. When you have redirect hops, every redirect will act basically as a link. So a website links to a URL on your page, so instantly 10% of that link equity is lost through that link, and then through that redirect, if that page then redirects to another page on your website, another 10% of that link equity is lost through that redirect. So this is why it's really bad to have multiple redirect hops. If there was sort of 3 more redirect hops in here, the end link equity that your website gets is much lower than it could have been if that was a direct link from the other sites to your page. Here we're losing an additional 9, but if there's more, you obviously get more lost. And 302s. So 302s do pass link equity and page rank. It doesn't happen immediately, it's not as fast as 301s, but eventually 302s will pass link equity, and the same thing happens, the same degradation happens as 301s. So technical link reclamation. Now this kind of section of the talk is all about technical fixes, things that you can do to really quickly reclaim some of your link equity. The first one, obviously, then, if you've been listening to what I'm saying, is broken inbound links. So finding all of these 404s on your website which have external links, and also finding 302 or temporary redirects. As I said, these will eventually pass PageRank, but if you can change those to a 301 or even put content back on those old URLs, you're going to get link equity a lot faster, and it's a lot more of a, I guess, safer option than just leaving them as 302. So what we do is first we identify all landing pages and all URLs on our website which have inbound links. So to do this, you're going to need to use as many link profiles as you can get your hands on. So Webmaster Tools, Ahrefs, Majestic, Open Site Explorer, and anything else, any other link, link profile that you can get your hands on. Basically, take all of these landing pages with inbound links and just merge them all into one spreadsheet. You want to then run them through a crawler like Screaming Frog, and this will tell you exactly which of those URLs 404. So here we've done the inbound links to House of Fraser, which is a department store in the UK. And we can see that they have things like default.asp and /shop of 404ing. And this is quite important because those two URLs, yes, they're very, very old, but they have lots of very old links. So back when they did have a default.asp or a /shop, websites and news websites particularly linked to those pages, which are now 404. So House of Fraser could really easily reclaim those links just by fixing them. So to fix them, what we do is we first identify the most important sites that are linking to these dead pages, because if there's a really authoritative sites in your industry, if there's news websites, if there's anything else, you're going to get much more benefit by sending them a quick email and asking them to update the link to the new page than you are with the redirect. And for the rest of them, for the lower priority links, it's really easy to just implement a 301 redirect. So redirect all of those old 404ing URLs to new relevant URLs. And it's quite simple. This is just Apache htaccess scripts. You can do this with Nginx, IIS. It's a bit different and a little bit harder when you get to IIS, but completely possible to just implement these redirects. Obviously, you're going to experience some link degradation with these, but it's better than having those links to 404s. Lost links. So this is another quite important one, and it's a way that at Allotment we can maintain and prevent our clients from losing too much link equity. So we just watch a link profile. We use Ahrefs and go to the lost links page, obviously, and look at what links you've lost in the last sort of week, the last month. Go through all of those and work out why. Is it because the websites had a migration to a new platform and they haven't moved the content that linked to you over? Is it that the page has gone down? Is it that they've changed it or updated it in some way and they haven't included your link? Because when you understand this, you can really easily spot, okay, I can get another link from this website by just dropping them an email, maybe putting a resource back on your website if you've taken it off. Or, just by building a relationship and understanding why these websites stopped linking to you, you can then ask them to link to you again really easily. So these are some of the questions you might ask about lost links. If the page has been removed, why was it removed? If you were getting referral traffic from that page, it might be that it was removed on accident and that the website didn't mean to take it down, and so dropping them an email, you can put it back up. If it's updated, why was the page updated? Was your link replaced with one to a better resource? We've come across this a couple of times where where we've had a resource that other websites have linked to, and obviously an SEO in a competing company has seen that, done a better resource, outreach to all of those people that linked to our resource and got them to change their links. So, well, in that case, we just made ours much better than theirs and did the same thing to them. Domain misspellings. Another really interesting and really easy way to pick up links, because this happens all the time, especially if you're working with sort of big name brands that do get a lot of links. So a misspelling is where another website will create a link to your website, but they'll misspell your domain. So instead of House of Fraser, maybe they've linked to Hose of Fraser. And this happens a lot more than you might expect. So one of the ways that we can sort of detect whether this is happening is first by using a domain typo generator. So this is a really good one on SEO Chat. You basically type in your domain and it'll generate all of the possible misspellings. You take those misspellings and put them through Ahrefs batch analysis, so we can then instantly see how many websites are linking to that misspelling. So House of Fraser has 11 referring domains linking to these misspellings of their domain name. And so the easiest way to fix these links and then obviously reclaim that link equity is to email those websites and just point out that, okay, they've linked to the wrong page or the wrong domain. Can they fix the link? Or what's happened in a couple of cases where the misspelling was really common, we're talking about hundreds of websites have linked to this misspelled domain. We just buy it. Sometimes it'll be available, a lot of the time it'll be with a squatter who might charge you, I don't know, a few £1,000s for it. But if those are high quality links and those are websites that are trying to link to your client anyway, it's a completely natural way to reclaim those links, get those visitors who are trying to visit your site anyway. Unlinked brand mentions. So this is a fun one. Unlinked brand mention is where you'll have a website, a blog, and normally a news website will mention your brand, but they won't include a link to your website. So they'll write a news article about your brand, and this is a news article about a company that sits in their office. So this is Desk Bears, and they've got lots of these news articles where people will talk about them but not link to them. And so it's really easy to get these people to link to you because they're already talking about you. So the important thing to note is that you're not just looking for your main domain name or your main sort of business name. Obviously your business name and your domain name are important, but for companies that produce something, there's often sub-brands. So Bellstaff, for instance, have a Trailmaster jacket. They have a Roadmaster jacket. They have Mojave, I think, is another Bellstaff jacket. They have a lot of different product brand names that they can then use for this kind of reclamation, as well as if you have a main spokesman, or if the brand you're working with has kind of a celebrity spokesman, you can then include that celebrity's name as the brand that matters to you, because if a website is talking about David Beckham's sort of biking gear or biking clothing, they're talking about Bellstaff's. Yeah. So we take all of these brand mentions and we put them through a Google scraper. So I'm using Scrapebox here. Essentially put in the brands that you're looking at and then exclude your website because you don't want to see mentions from your own website about your brand. And you'll end up with a big list of web pages that mention you. At the moment, you don't know whether they also link to you or not, so run them through Screaming Frog's list mode and use this regex to work out whether or not a link exists on that page to your website. After you've got that list, it's really easy. You've got a list of news articles about your website or about your brands, but who don't link to you. So you can email them. You can say, "Thanks for writing this great article about us and mentioning us. I think it'd be really useful for your users if there's a link to our website because you're talking a lot about our brand." And this is really effective. I know of one agency who at one point were getting about 100 linking domains a month for one of their clients just through this method of finding newspapers and blogs who talked about this client and who had not linked to them. This also helps because a lot of the time these websites will they've already talked about your brand, your client, and so they like your brand or client. So starting to build that relationship can help you get more links in the future, can help you push out your next campaign. Building those relationships really helps. Okay, so now so that's kind of the technical side of it, things that like I said, broken link reclamation, finding people have talked about you but not linked to you, things like that. This is more finding people who have stolen your stuff is the more out of it. Well, I find it more interesting anyway. So this is all about finding people who have used some of your assets, taken some of your content without permission, and who haven't linked to you. So image usage is a really important one, and it's actually one of the main ways that people do this. So it's a fact that other websites are going to use your images without permission. This happens all the time, and Google image search really helps people steal your content because they just need to look for an image that's related to what they're writing about and they'll steal it. And this is really common, particularly for non-commercial websites. So things like blogs or personal websites. People will steal your images willy-nilly. They won't ask. They won't give you any credit. So this is the House of Fraser homepage. I think it was maybe a few months ago now. Anyway, we're looking at this image here. And a quick image search shows that the Trend Spotter website has used this photo as well as other photos from House of Fraser, and they haven't linked to House of Fraser. And they're even talking about House of Fraser, so maybe we'd pick this up in our unlinked brand mention research, but they've used the images, and maybe this was something to do with the press, the PR agency, or someone pushing something out, but they haven't linked, and so this is a website that we can then approach. And again, the most important part of this is that these blogs who have taken your photos, they're using them in their own websites. They already like your brand, or they like your photos. So identifying these websites is starting to build these relationships where maybe you can give them some more photos. Maybe they can help you push out your next campaign. It's really important and really useful. So we're not talking about just getting one link. We're talking about building this relationship where they can help you get more links. So to do this, you need to figure out what kind of images that other websites might like to use. And there's quite a lot of image assets that you could have, or you probably do have. So we've done this before with current and old logos. So when websites are talking about your specific company, they'll use your logo a lot of the time. Anything you've uploaded to social media, that stuff gets stolen all the time. anything you put onto a catalog or digital marketplace. So things like product images, especially lifestyle shots, tend to get taken quite a lot. Any photos that you've put on your blog, maybe you've had a team event or things about your office, people can steal those. And PR photos, so any photos that your PR agency has sent out, if those have ended up on a major newspaper, chances are that someone has taken them off that newspaper, and they don't even know that they're your photos. So it's really useful to start approaching people who've stolen your photos from sort of third-party sources. And how do we do this? Well, you can take each individual photo and put it through Google image search, but that's a really long, arduous process, really boring, and if you're like us and you're dealing with thousands and thousands of photos, it's just not feasible. You can't go through hundreds of thousands of search result pages looking for a link here or a link there. So that's why we built this. This is ImageRaider, and it was built by us here at Allotment. It's no longer ours, so we sold it to a technology company a little while ago, but ImageRaider was built for this exact purpose. So essentially you'll dump in all of your photos, so you can upload them, put them in by image URLs, connect your Flickr account, whatever you want to do. And it will then monitor which websites are using your images. So it'll constantly search, Google image search, and then it'll send you, and it'll show reports of, okay, this website started using it, and this website started using it. You can obviously filter by dates it was found, or by website, and well, I guess the same way that you looked before, whether these websites were linking to, you just export a CSV of every website using one of your images, scrape them all with Screaming Frog to work out whether they're linking to you, and then you can start outreaching to them. So this is a basic process that we, along with I don't know how many hundreds of agencies use. So first you identify every image asset that you have, or that your client has, upload them to ImageRaider, review all the matches. So it's really important that you start off by cleaning the data that it initially finds, because that's going to get rid of all of the historical uses, all of the the affiliates that are using your products, images, all of the scrapers that you don't care about. If you whitelist as many of those as possible, export the good ones that you would like to ask for links, and then from then on, any new images that it finds, it will drop you an email to sort of these new websites have started using your images. Yeah, so that's really important and really useful, especially for e-commerce companies that take a lot of lifestyle shots, or I guess basically any company with a lot of image assets. Video usage. So on the same kind of lines as image usage, people will use your videos. Normally your videos are hosted on YouTube, and something that most people don't know is if you go into YouTube Analytics, go to the Playback Locations tab, you'll see this link, embedded in external websites and apps. So these are external websites who have embedded your videos into them. So this could be blogs talking about a video, it could be for any reason, people embedding your videos. So once you click it, you'll get a list of websites who are using them, and from there it's not hard to find which pages your videos are on. So those people are using your videos, so it's really easy to drop them an email and say, I see you've used our video here, this is a bit more information about the video or the topic, and this is the page. Maybe your users would find it useful if you included a link to our website. Another one, especially for companies with big YouTube profiles, is seeing who links to your YouTube profile page or who links to your YouTube video pages, because if they're linking to one of your video pages, or especially your profile page, chances are you could get them to include a link to your website. So use your favorite link profile. I think you can see by now that my favorite is Ahrefs. And just find out who is linking to you, why they're linking to you. Start to build those relationships. Okay, so getting to the end now. So hot linked assets. So hot link is when any other website embeds one of your assets, and typically this will be your images or potentially your videos. And this is when they're using the URL of the image that's hosted on your web server. So you can really easily see who's hot linking to your images in your server logs. I know that's a bit hard to see, especially if you're not used to looking at server logs. So you can also use another method which we do, and that's basically taking all of these image URLs that you have, hopefully they're all in the same folder, it makes this a lot easier, and using an Apache rewrite to sort of reroute those requests for your images through a script which then tracks, okay, this is the website which is hot linking to us, hot linking one of our images. It still shows the photo or the image that you're supposed to show, but it sends an email off or a hit off to analytics. And then you can then investigate and then work out why those people are hot linking to you, hot linking your images, and then ask them for, credit links. So say, this image courtesy of your website, and maybe you can get them to stop using the URL on your server because obviously it's eating your bandwidth. There's a tool, again, another tool that we built. This isn't just a promotional webinar. That does this for you, so you can upload your images to our server, and this is particularly useful, especially when you're releasing image infographics. So you can upload them to our server and then share those URLs out, and you'll be able to see exactly how many users saw your infographic, even if it's on another website, where those people are in the world, technology, what computer or browser they're using. I don't have any pictures of the reports, but it's really useful to do that, or at the very least just do some sort of basic tracking of who's using your resources, to ask them for links, obviously. And then to kind of, I guess, sum everything up, what other assets do you have that people might have linked to without linking to your website? So this applies to most companies as well. You've got, if you've got an app, people might have linked to your App Store URL, so play.google.com or iTunes URLs. If people have linked to your app on one of those stores, they are normally pretty open to also linking to the app info page on your site, or if you've got a bit more information that maybe the App Store doesn't have or something like that, you can really easily get them to link to your site. If you've got a Wikipedia page, often people will link to a Wikipedia page to reference some specific material or specific information about your company. So if you also have pages on your website with that information, it's easy to get them to change that link or link to you in addition to Wikipedia. Finally, obviously, social networks. If people have linked to your Twitter, if they've linked to any specific tweets about you, that one's kind of hard to do, but it's possible. Screaming Frog. If they've linked to any of these social properties, it's worth looking at why they've linked to that and seeing whether or not it's sort of appropriate to ask them for a link to your website instead. Oh, and kind of as a little bonus, how to recover links and sort of the process that you should be going through. Because I've talked a lot about, especially in the second half of this kind of webinar, it's about the identifying these websites that might link to you if you ask them. But how do you ask them? How should you prioritize that? Should you ask everyone for a link? So again, this slide first you need to find non-linkers with Screaming Frog. Once you've done that, you need to prioritize them. So I prioritize them by authority and relevancy, and I recommend using BuzzStream for this. You can just dump in a list of web pages and you can get it to really easily find PageRank, domain authority. It can also discover their contact info, which saves you a lot of time. BuzzStream can then outreach to, well, they've got an outreach they're an outreach platform, right? So they BuzzStream can then open this email writing screen for every single page or website that you've dumped in, and makes it really fast to send an email to all of these websites. So, ongoing link reclamation. I guess what I've talked about so far is this kind of the initial kind of reclamation of all the links that you should have historically, and getting those at the beginning of a SEO project where you're taking on a new client. But it's also completely possible, and you should do reclamation on an ongoing basis. So I know some agencies have their own sort of system for keeping track of all the mentions that they have had, any new brand mentions or any new images. It's really, really useful, I think, to do image reclamation on a weekly or monthly basis and ad allotment. This is kind of the basic system that we use. So we outreach to people all the time, and then every week we'll have a different focus for all of our clients. So one week we might be looking for new inbound. The next week we might be looking at new lost links. The next week we'll be reviewing all the misspelled domains to see if there's new people who've linked to those, etc., to kind of maintain this reclamation momentum, so that, you know, there's no point in doing this once a year and just doing a big project when you can be doing it every week and sort of keeping hold of all of those links that you have either lost or that were never links to begin with, and then you've got then a year with a benefit that you might not have had if you're just doing this on a sort of periodic basis. And also use alert systems. So I think every tactic I've talked about, there's some way of automatically tracking it. At ImageRadar, obviously, we have email alerts, but if you can track it and be alerted when a new website should be linking to you but isn't, that's a really useful system to have, and can save you a lot of time. So that's